welcome to the Toffee Blues, where Max, Terry and I are once again going to be together to analyse the pros and cons of reported Everton target Jack Grealish. Grealish has, of course, impressed this year upon returning to the Premier League with Aston Villa and is apparently on our radar along with the likes of Man United. So we're going to start this time with Max. What do you think Grealish would bring to Everton?
Right. The way I view this speculation, obviously Everton's just hearsay in this time when we've literally got no football. Obviously the market's not in play, so I think it's just futile sort of speculation as far as that goes. But looking at it like subjectively, I think Jack Grealish would be an absolutely fantastic fit for what we need from a creative midfielder. Now, voice your concerns if you've got any when I say this, but I genuinely feel like we've been searching for an answer for a creative midfielder since Mikel Arteta left the club. Now, I think Ross Barkley, for the years that he did spend at Everton, didn't crystallise his potential completely. I think he jumped ship too early, and we've seen by his continued inconsistencies at Chelsea. I feel personally that once Barkley had left, the ideal sort of replacement would be, now I'm going way out of our price range and what we can attract here, but a player similar to that of an Isco or a David Silva, someone who's relatively small, low centre of gravity, that can deal with the ball to his feet, can take the ball with his back to goal, turn, make play, bring other people in, have a crack if need be. And then this sort of obviously inspires the Gylfi Sigurdsson debate all over again, which I don't want to exactly tire myself out with, because I think we've all kind of tortured ourselves to death at what we think of Gylfi Sigurdsson at the moment. I don't mean to say that I berate him. I do think that Gylfi Sigurdsson is a really good player, as proved by the fact that along with Richarlison, not this season, but the season gone, he was our highest goal scorer in all competitions. So I do think Gylfi Sigurdsson's a cracking player, but at the same time, I don't think he's the answer to our problems. I do think someone like a Jack Grealish, who I think is only 5'7", got something like 9 goals this season in all competitions and 7 assists. I just think that speaks for itself. I know he's got a few cons, which I'm sure you lads will make note of, but I think he'd be great.
Terry?
Well, I sort of think two things about this. I think I've got certain thoughts on the link, the transfer link, and certain thoughts on the player. So I'll just go with my thoughts on the transfer link. Really, I don't think it's true for a start. If it is true, it's unrealistic because there's a lot of problems with it. You know, its price would be astronomical. I don't think Everton will be looking to buy. You know, I don't think anyone really will be looking to buy Premier League to Premier League going forward. You know, with the uncertain finances at the minute, and even before that, I think he would have been a price prohibitive player. Also, this is, you know, it's not going to be happy to admit, but, you know, I don't think we can attract him because he's at Aston Villa, he's at his boyhood club, and his next move, now that he's sort of coming into the, you know, the peak of his value, if nothing else, his next move is going to be his big move. And, you know, going from Aston Villa to Everton, yeah, in league terms, it is an improvement, but it's not a huge jump with both teams who are outside of the European places. I think he's good enough to attract, you know, a Champions League team like a Liverpool or a Spurs or someone like that. Because, let's be honest, and this is where it comes into me thoughts on the player, he is class. I think he's a quality player. Where he'd fit in our team is a bit, you know, questionable. Not in the sense of he wouldn't get in our team, of course he would. But a few other people have touched on it as well, but he'd probably be most suited into that left of the midfield 4 position, that sort of half left, half 10 that he's got Iwobi and Bernard playing in, with Dean on the outside. I couldn't see him being one of the 2 central midfielders in a flat 4-4-2, which is what we play. It'd be too restrictive for him, and to give him the freedom, the only creatively free position in our team is that left midfielder who cuts inside. And is that a position that we really need to invest in when there's so many other positions in the team that require attention? You know, right back, centre back, right midfield, possibly even goalkeeper. Even if there's truth to this link, I just think it's a strange one. You know, it's looking to buy a quality player. Don't get me wrong. If we feasibly could attract him, which I have huge doubts about, but it'd be a lot of money spent on a position where we've got 2 players in, and there's other positions that need sorting out first. So I'm dubious over it, but would I love it? Yeah, I would. I think he's quality. I think he's an absolutely immense player. This season he's come on loads, and if he hadn't have, if the current situation with the coronavirus hadn't, derailed football, I think he'd have been in the England squad to sort of, put a little bow on his form this season.
Yeah, I'm sorry to just butt in, but I forget the source again. Paper talk, but wasn't there a rumoured price tag around £70 million?
Yeah, there was.
So financial fair play, boys. You know what I mean? Again, just speculation.
I think that's astronomical money, to be honest. I don't think it's feasible in any way, shape, or form. And to be honest, you guys have had a lot of good things to say, but if I'm going to say my piece, I'm a bit more sceptical about them, to be honest with you, for a number of reasons. First and foremost, I'm always cautious about prizing players away from the boiled clubs. And there's a kind of a reason to that. I know there was obviously the exceptions with players like Rooney, who are top quality, who go to the likes of Man United and win, but we're not in a position to, like you say, take players like that, or take players who are looking for the big step up. And I'm always concerned about when we sign players from the boiled clubs, the likes of, I always worry about like another Ashley Williams, like where is he given like 110% for these clubs, but will he give that for us? Would he give the same to Everton that he'd give to Aston Villa? I don't think he would. And in addition to that, obviously there's the whole tactical side of things, like you say. I don't think we'd be able to find a place in our system for him on top of what we've already got. And there's, like you say, there's so much other places that we need in that squad that we need to bolster I say the summer, but it could be bloody November by the time the next transfer window. I don't know. And then on top of that, of course, there's the issues about his attitude. Of course, we saw him breaking the lockdown as well. I'm a little bit sceptical about players like that. I mean, we gave Nias all kinds of hell for it, and rightly so, by the way. But Grealish did more or less the same thing. So what would we say if Grealish were an Everton player and he did that? I know Nias is pretty much public enemy number one, but something tells me we wouldn't be much more sympathetic with Grealish.
I don't know, just to counteract what you said about would he give us all, and I know circumstances being boiled club, sort of adored by the fans, and but he's captain, and when you watch Aston Villa, Jack Grealish is always the spearhead of any sort of attacking play that they have. He takes responsibility. He always looks to influence play, and I think that feeds into my point. He's the type of player that we've needed for so long. That sort of creative spark that's willing to take responsibility. So I can understand your trepidation as to whether, okay, would he give 100% playing for Everton as he would playing for Aston Villa? I wouldn't want to question his credibility as a professional footballer. I do think he would, but at the same time, and again, this is like Terry's point, like we are in no situation to be looking at like the top talent in the country and be saying, go on, we'll have you, because A, coronavirus, B, financial fair play, and C, like we're just, as Terry rightly said, we've got nothing to offer these players.
Mm. Well, I mean, if it's a different question if Villa were to go down, say the games are completed and the season's finished and what have you, and Villa go down, then obviously then it's a different matter. His price comes down, not to a cheap degree, but it comes down to a little bit, less eye-watering than 70, I'm sure. But if his price comes down, then it sounds like I'm putting the club down, but I'm not, to say bigger, more attractive offers will come in for him if his price goes down. So I just don't think we're, a big enough law away from Aston Villa for him, because he will have teams in the Champions League coming in for him. And, they say, the Birmingham Mail, I think, said that Man United aren't interested in him anymore. I don't know whether I believe that. I think they still would be interested, and even if it's not them, and I know they're not, regularly in the Champions League or what, but they're still Man United. And I honestly could see him going to a Liverpool. I think he'd suit them down to the ground on the left side of their middle three, and that's the type of offer I think he'll probably get going forward. So it'd be a coup for Everton to get him. But I think for the money he'd cost in any scenario, even if we could somehow get him away from Aston Villa to Everton, I think we'd be better served putting our money elsewhere abroad and finding players who
Precisely.
are on the radar. I'd like to see more Luca Deans and players like that who you don't really, quality players who can come in and improve the team straight away, but don't cost the earth. I think that's the future of that. That's where our money's best placed.
I think that's precisely my point as well, because I think what I was most cautious about, obviously I reeled off all these negatives about Grealish, but what I'm most scared about is if we did get him, we'd have to pay top dollar for him, and I don't want us getting our fingers burned like we did this with Gylfi Sigurdsson, bringing the star player from a lower Premier League team and bringing him into our squad, and he just hasn't cut the mustard for what we paid for him. And I don't care what you say, how good Grealish is. I don't think if we paid 70 million, he'd never repay that.
No, you know what he'd be? He'd be like a midfield Pickford. Like, you'd take him away from his boy club. And all right, Pickford didn't cost as much as like he was, his strapline said he did. He was actually closer to 20 million, 30 apparently. But he's got all the hallmarks as well. Like he's still, Pickford still loves Sunderland. Pickford gets himself in trouble on nights out. Clearly, Grealish is doing that as well. I think it would be signing up for a midfield version of Pickford. Now, some people might go, well, I'm up for that if it's the first season Pickford. If he performs well, then I don't care what his attitude like. But some people would be a little bit like, it could easily go badly wrong with a player like that because you don't feel like he's committed enough. Grealish gets in the England squad and say, he's an Everton player. Will he be like Pickford and that's his prime motivation? And will the fans turn a little bit sour on him with bad performances because they don't feel like his heart's in it? There's all these things that could crop up.
I'll be honest, I would be one of those. I'm very angry when I see players not working hard enough. I think Gylfi Sigurdsson's a prime example of that, and Schneiderlin, and it's the same. I think it'd be the same with Grealish, bringing in established Premier League player for a big fee, and I think it's a player who there's still question marks about his work rate. To be honest with you, I don't think he's obviously a very gifted player who adds more technical ability to what we've already got, definitely. But I just think he could easily become a pariah with our fans. The way our fans are and how much commitment matters to our fans. If he doesn't pull his weight, then he could be in for a rotten spelling, given that we would have parted with a lot of money to bring him in. He could become one of our many flop signings that other clubs laugh at us at now for.
Not going to sign him anyway, so it's all right.
Exactly. Yeah. So, that's a good little way to sign off then, isn't it? We're not going to get him. We've done this whole show. We've just been discussing the player we're definitely not going to get. So there you have it. Jack Grealish isn't coming to Everton, guys. Either way, we've had a nice little discussion on him here. So again, drop us a comment on the video. Let us know your opinions on Grealish and what you think he could offer Everton if we were to sign him. Give us a like and a subscribe too if you're on YouTube. And thank you for watching on the Toffee Blues.